good, Andrew?
Yep, let's go. We're good to go.
Alrighty. Thank you very much. This is the January 3rd work session, 5 o'clock work session. I'd like to get everybody started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody like to stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, Charlie, do me a favor and click that button on the thing, please. Perfect. We had a. Okay, yep, you're right, thank you. Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Squire Sebastian.
Here.
Squire Blackburn.
Present.
Squire Dykus.
Here.
Squire Tracy. Here. Squire Tanner. Here. Squire Wiseman.
Wisman, present.
Wisman, sorry. Judge Mueller.
Present, thank you. Good deal. I want to welcome the new members of the court. This is an exciting day, first day of the year. I think the swearing in ceremony was very nice. I'm glad everybody could attend. So we're just going to kind of ease into this, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to stop us or ask or any clarifications, things like that. We have Mr. Max Comley as our representative here to keep us out of trouble and figure some things out. Amy, our treasurer, just came in, so we were going to talk about proposed court dates. Amy, do you by any chance make copies for everybody? So after talking to some of the magistrates, there were some issues with some of the dates and things. So we have a new proposed list for the 2023 court sessions. So basically, in a nutshell, every other week, we're going to start meeting every 2 weeks instead of 3 weeks. So we can try to keep these meetings a little bit more efficient and move through them. So the change was from what you all had was a Wednesday morning and a Thursday evening, thank you, is what we have proposed here. So everybody just wants to look at that for a minute, and it was pretty close to what it was, but basically the second Wednesday of the month went to Thursday evenings is basically the change. And then there are some requests for some daytime meetings, just, some certain individuals can be present that might not be able to come during the evening. So it's probably not perfect. If we need to change something throughout the year, be a special meeting. And I apologize for this last minute kind of throwing it on you, but I know it's due today per KRS. So I just wanted to kind of give that to you all. And I don't think unless somebody has.
I have a question.
Go.
Every Tuesday meeting. These meetings every Tuesdays at 5. There's how many Tuesday meetings?
There's only those first two, and I think that's because of either training or a holiday. Do you want to look at those and maybe Amy could go back, because Tuesdays aren't good for you, right, Squire Sebastian?
Tuesdays and Wednesday evenings, I
Okay.
have a standing commitment,
Okay,
and I built my schedule around the administrative
Yep.
code.
yeah.
Judge, is that going to replace the one that you have in the package?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the one we're acting on is the one. I got a copy of it. Yeah.
Works for me. So just two of them? Oh, there's a guys from there.
Yeah, but that's right before the holiday.
Yeah.
I can. Do everything I can to make those work. I just gotta check this down. You just give me a minute.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Because I'm the one with the problem.
That's okay. And then we could always go back and look at those Tuesdays, just because, and see if there's a different thing we can do there. But I'm sure it's because of training or something is why.
I was trying to make it work.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah. So you told me that.
You say anything?
It's a point of reference.
Yeah. Baby. Any other comments? Spark Tracy, Spark Tanner, anybody? Everybody's good?
I'm fine. Any day but Friday.
Hang on, just a
Yeah,
second. I'm still
you're fine.
trying to mold it through.
I'm retired though.
No, that's true. True. Good point.
Not anymore.
Would you have?
We don't need a motion on that, do we, Joey? It's your
No,
pick.
no, it is, but I'm trying to, it's hard to get 8 people scheduled together, so I'm trying to make sure everybody's happy, so I think Squire Sebastian, Squire Blackburn are looking over a couple things, so if there's any changes, I'd rather make them with the group, just so.
Judge, you just may need to update. Still this says December 28th, we try and observe that.
Okay. Thank you.
For Tracy, you do September 13th?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
With August 9th, is there any way we can move that in?
Hey, it's my birthday.
We got one on my birthday too. That means you gotta bring me, you gotta bring me.
Here's my, can we make that a Thursday evening?
On the 9th,
Yeah.
make it the 10th instead.
Maybe the 10th.
I'm okay with that. Everybody hear that? So Wednesday, August 9th, instead of that, we would go to Thursday, August 10th at 9 AM.
I had something to move that day. I
Okay.
let you know. that was- so.
Okay, Eric, we'll change it.
Do you want it,
Still in the morning?
you gonna have it in the
What
morning?
would you,
Like,
what would you all, I was trying to just keep it consistent. I was gonna keep it morning, but we can switch at night.
If
I'm
you want it
easy.
at night.
You want it at night?
I can do night.
All right, we'll go to 5 o'clock on that, and then we
We had it
we'll
on
send-
the night too,
Okay.
so I wasn't.
So we're staying on the 9th.
No, we're going to the
No.
10th,
The 10th.
10th at 5 o'clock. Thank you.
I'm still,
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm almost saying.
Yeah. I think. How's everybody in the audience doing today? Everybody had a good day?
Yes, sir.
Enough rain out there for you?
Yes, sir.
I can make everything on here work. Thank you so much, everybody.
You're quite welcome.
Truly, thank you.
Okay, so the only change on here, and we'll get everybody a revised copy, will be that August 9th, we'll switch to August 10th at 5 PM. Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
yep, it's all about working together here, so I appreciate everybody working together. Alrighty, next we have, I believe our jailer Banta with Combined Public Communications to give a presentation.
I'm moving on.
Go, let's go.
First of all, thank you all for being here. Welcome. And let me apologize for putting this kind of big contract on your very first one, but I didn't have much choice. My contract ended with other companies, very, very quickly. So I didn't have much options. I want to thank everybody that helped out with this. My committee started in October, with this bid for new phones and new tablets. When I was appointed to jailer, I inherited 2 separate contracts, one with the phone, one with the tablets. And just the way that it's worked out with technology and revenue, it was better to combine them. With no pun intended, the company went with this combined public communication. But I wanted to combine it to where it's easier on everybody. It's easier on the treasurer. It's easier on my staff that does investigation through it. And it's just easier to put it all in one lump sum. Also, I want to thank Robert for helping out. I see him behind me and Rick Sparks for helping out with the contracts. I want to introduce Malia Hurst is here with us tonight from Combined. If you all don't know Malia's dad was one of the best jailers in the state of Kentucky for several years. Her dad is Bobby Waits, which was Shelby County jailer for many, many years. So we've known each other for a very long time. To start out real quick, I'm gonna go through this fairly quickly. We started out in October, the first, I think it was the 3rd of October, the bid went out to 5 companies, Combined Public Communications via Vipath, Tech Friends, ICS, and Securus. There were several everybody came in and did a presentation to the jail, to the committee. I was not involved in those presentations. I wanted to stand back and let my people do it. and then make a final decision if I needed to. Unanimously combined public communications won this bid with my committee. I had a committee of Major King, Captain Smith, Captain Pullen, Lieutenant Whitaker, and Detective Ron Wyatt. And Captain Waldridge put the bid together for us. And this was during a trying time with short staff right before the holidays. So getting them in there was very tough, and I commend my staff. My staff works hard every day. So without further ado, I have a PowerPoint. If Mr. Tippett could put that up there for you. I'm not going to read every word on it, but I wanted you all to see a visual of the equipment that Combined will be putting in our jail. Combined will start out with our phones. They're Kentucky based and family owned company. I'm not gonna read every word of that, but I'll leave it up there long enough so y'all kind of go through there. You go ahead to the next one. So phones are phones. They're pretty basic in the jail. They're pretty sturdy. It's only serves one purpose, and it serves two purposes in the jail. It makes phone calls, and they also order their commissary off of the phones too. With this company, they'll have the inmates will have numerous ways to order commissary off of it, with the tablets, with the phones, and with the kiosks that were in the pods. The kiosks going in the pods were very important to me. It gives another option. They're secure. The tablets that we have now, I have nothing bad to say about that company or the tablets other than they just break. The charging systems in it are these people in pods can tear up things, and they're very good at it. So there's times in a pod where we have one working tablet and there's 30 guys in there. There's some irritation, and I can understand that. So with the different options that Combined can bring to the table, it should help out with that. You can go to the next one, please. This is the kiosk. This is mounted on the wall, and it's stationary. Most pods in the male pod area and the female pod will have two of these, plus the tablets, plus a phone, plus chirps. So the options for these inmates to be able to communicate with their family and loved ones and friends. Also, the educational process can be done on this and the tablets, so they can take their classes, do their homework. They can have their religious services on these. They can order, they have email. They can file their medical forms. They can file their grievances. Any maintenance issues, instead of a deputy having to take a piece of paper and putting it in a box and waiting for maintenance to come pick it up, it goes straight to maintenance now. The jail is trying to go to a more technology-based jail, and we'll get into some more of that here in a little bit. Pre-awareness class notifications can be reported there. The law library is huge. We pay a lot of money out of canteen every year for law books. They're expensive. This will eliminate the law library in time. I won't do it right away. You always want to back up, but this, they can do all their law research on the tablets and the kiosks now. Order commissary, limit video arraignments. If they ever get to that, we could actually arraign somebody in court from their pod if we ever got to that with the courts. That's up to the courts. Ma'am, you should have your finger.
I was. So, the law library, is that something that's mandatory from the Department of Corrections that you have in every facility of every jail? You have to have a,
Yes, ma'am.
you have to have a law library.
Yes, ma'am. We have numerous inmates that represent themselves. We have to provide that.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions on the kiosk? This is what I'm most excited about. And when the bid went out, this was one of the requirements, and this is one of the only companies that provide that right there. That's one reason that they were at the top of the list. You go to the next one, please, sir.
Can I follow up on Squire Sebastian's question? Do you have to have a physical presence of a law library in the jail, or can you take them to a law library?
We have one in the jail.
Okay.
And if we can eliminate that, it gives us space, which is something that's precious inside the jail.
Would that require a law change, KRS change?
I don't believe so, but we're gonna leave the law library how we have it now until we're really clear on that. So I believe as long as they're accessible to it digitally, they'll be fine, but I want to make sure before I pull it out there and make an office or something out of it. Any other questions? on that. All right, this is something new that only Combined provides. It's basically how I can describe it. It's a texting machine. It's basically a really tough BlackBerry where the inmates can text their family. And everything that they do, back up a second, but everything they do in the jail, the phones, the church, the tablets, the kiosk, everything they do is recorded and used as an investigator tool. We have several people throughout the jail to sit and go through this stuff to help law enforcement, to help us. And this is no different. So this is just, it's real-time texting. It's a behavioral tool. It's a revenue tool. It's pretty secure and it's durable. These will be issued out to the inmates and they will have to log in and with an account to do that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the phones and the tablets and the kiosk, every inmate will have so many free minutes per day. I think it's 5, isn't it?
They get 6 free minutes a day on the tablet.
6 free minutes a day. We have a lot of indigent inmates. So they have to be able to contact their family too. So they provide so much time per day on the tablets and so many on the phone too. I think it's 5 minutes, but I have to research that. Next, please. Andrew, there you go. These are the tablets. They're actually iPads. The charging system on these, I don't know. I'm not gonna compare tablets because they're just tablets are tablets as far as I'm concerned. I'm not an IT person, but the charging system seems to be the problem with the company that we have today. And their charging system is more like a vault that is harder to tear up and take pieces out of and heat their coffee with. They can also use this as a phone call. I was gonna say like cigarettes, but they're not supposed to be smoking. But with the one issue we had with, since we had 2 separate contracts with our phones and our tablets last time, when you take the tablet off the charging, at first the screen would go away because we didn't want them taking it to the bathroom and having FaceTime. So, but the volume would stay on. So technically that's a phone call. Well, the phone company didn't like that. I was caught in the middle of that. Going to one company, it doesn't matter if they're making a phone call on it now or not. But they can do their classes, the paperless forms. They can do all that pretty much they can do on the kiosk with this. It's just mobile. This company gives the inmates and the staff more options for everybody. Next, sir.
Gentlemen, a quick question. I know your partnership with Thornhill Education is very successful. Is this part of that? Will they be on here? as
Their
well?
education, their homework can be on there, absolutely.
Good deal.
Off-site mail scan. We have this now. We just started it a little bit ago with the scare of fentanyl and drugs. This is huge. So basically a quick synopsis of what this does is we don't accept mail anymore. It goes to an off-site, they scan it and it goes to their email on their tablet or the kiosk when we get the kiosk. For those of you that don't know, you can take any drug that is in any powder form and put it in water, soak it on paper and mail it in. Well, Rick Rogers quit that by making copies and giving people copies, but my staff's still doing it. And they have to wear gloves and a mask and all that stuff, but then it goes into their property. This eliminates it. So mail will be strictly digital now. And they're working towards where legal mail is going to go to this too. It's still kind of, there's attorneys involved in that. Staff, this helps with me with staff. It's huge with contraband. And it helps with investigative tools too. And then also our people will approve or disapprove some mail, they try to get things through the mail that they shouldn't have. Next. Andrew, there you go.
That's all he's got.
All right. One other thing I will talk about if you'll go to the billing rate sheet here. It says 134 on the bottom of it.
Do we need to ask questions about that part of the packet now or also?
If you'll let me go through this, I may answer. But I'll answer your question anytime for you.
I know. Thank you.
Everybody got it?
134.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sabrina.
it says billing rates and commission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good, yeah.
So the way we negotiated this contract with the commission is it's a guarantee monthly. For the phones and the tablets, it is $18,000 a month guaranteed. We also get a technology grant of $25,000, which both of these numbers are more than what we were getting with the other two contracts, not by a whole lot. I tried, I negotiated as much as I could. It took me a couple days. Also, the monthly grant technology, which is part of the church, is $1,700 a month. The $25,000 will be paid out once a year, the $1,700, which equals $20,400 will be paid monthly. And both of those will be I will get with the treasurer and we'll work where it's line item that goes to. Some jails put that in other places, and I didn't want to do that. I want to put it back to the community. Bonus compensation is really what I'm really excited about this, and I'll show you more about this later once we go through it. But this is I have negotiated with Combine to provide Life Check. Life Check is a system that is a digital rounds, head counts. It will eliminate lots of paper from us. We spend a lot of time and money on paper in jail. And Life Check will be paid for out of this contract, and they will come in a few months. So our deputies, instead of writing down on an ob or writing down on a head count, they will all carry basically what looks like a cell phone. And they will do everything digitally, and it will go to a system where it's all backed up, and this company pays for all of that. And that is about $16,312 a year that they will pay for the 4 years. And that was a huge part of our negotiation, because I want that to go digital. These newer deputies that are younger, I'm not going to call them, they're just younger. They like the technology. Me and Chief Mazzacone, we'd rather write it on paper. We were trained if it wasn't wrote down, it didn't happen. But this will be a digital way to save time and paper. And we're really excited about that. And we negotiated that. I wanted it, I was going to do it and bring it to the court this year, but when the contract came up, I thought it's a perfect time to negotiate that into this contract. And they're already married in with Combined in Tennessee, this company is. So their technology, their internet, all that is already lined up. So when they come in, once they come in and get set up, we'll bring Life Check in with their contract, and I will present it to the court. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Benja, can I ask you a question? When you talked about some of the inmates having free, I think 6 minutes a day, text or 5 minutes.
I guess, my man.
Please say thanks.
We call it a hot mic and lawful.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do right now. So the question is, do people get that only if they're signed up to pay for other services? Let's say someone doesn't have any money to, pay for some of these things to use their energy. Okay, but they still get to use like the 5 minutes a day or the 6 minutes, even if they're not
Yes, sir.
on the plan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Our service, and I'll add to that too, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
The way it would work too is when they're booked in, the JMS that's used that talks to our software. So every inmate that's booked in would be available.
okay,
Able to use it.
perfect, thank you. Anybody else?
So is it appropriate time to ask questions about that 12 now, or you know it's the whole?
No, go ahead. Is that, just tell me where it's at.
That's the package, that's the contract itself.
Still the old contract.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was appropriate now to ask.
The contract is a 4-year contract. I feel appropriate, which will be my term. I like shorter contracts, but you have to understand too, that I think it's in there, it's $300,000 worth of equipment, that $344,242 of equipment that Combine's putting into our facility. So this is a 4-year contract.
So what I didn't see in there was the vendor's actual compensation each year for the contract. Where do we find that?
It's on the very front page. where it says building rates and commission.
Uh-huh,
Ours is 18,000 on the right, theirs is their rates on the left.
so their rates are the ones. We get through all these bonds. Get back to it.
Right here,
There's too long. to make them.
page 1 here. How long am I?
I think
We did a
It's
really great job of killing trees on this one. So in the contract, are we gonna take every à la carte option? Because coming through this, all of this, there were a number of à la carte options. So are we choosing all of the à la carte options?
We're choosing the guaranteed monthly commission.
Okay.
That whether they pick up a phone and use it in a jail, and I'll just be honest with you, phones aren't used like they used to be because they have more options. We make $18,000 whether they make a phone call or not. I'd rather have a guarantee than a commission.
So we're choosing the guaranteed rates.
Yes, ma'am. Easier to budget.
Okay, guaranteed rate portions. And I asked some specific questions about the agreement.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
now,
You just tell me where to go.
all right, so if you go to page 1 of that agreement.
Mhm.
So on page 1 of that agreement, and this may be, and our county attorney may have to jump in a couple of times here. Possibly for some of this. I gotta get back to the contract itself, because there's a lot of discussion here. I should have. Under interface requirements, it talks about, how everything will interface. So will the jail or the data provider create the interface required for the vendor? I mean, is it something that we're gonna have to? Will we have to pull in a technology specialist to create that interface?
They bring their own.
You're bringing someone, because it specifies that we're going to do that in here. We will create the interface. The customer is going to create the interface. So the customer's us, right?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that it said that, but no, we do handle all of the, anything that has to be done with like commissary, so the commissary links for the,
Mhm.
to be able to add those to the kiosks or the phone, we make sure, we are the partner with that commissary company to make all of that happen.
So you all will do that, so the vendor will. Okay, and so, if you all are doing that, is there any charge, or is that, as part of the contract? So that will
No,
be,
ma'am, there's no charge. Usually we know right up front which companies, we do this often enough, and so we know those companies we work well with, and it works as a benefit to both companies. So there's no charge for the county.
and so, in that same section under interface requirements, the agreement calls for the vendor to install a program for data extraction on a server. So is that the same server that's over on page 5 of this agreement, or is it a different server?
Well, we would have our own server that would be installed on the deal.
Okay,
Again, at no cost. To the county, that's all paid for by CPC.
all right, so that's the server that you all are going to, because on page 5, it calls for a server in there. And so I wasn't sure if it's 2 separate servers to do 2 different functions and hold 2 different things, or if it's the same.
Just one provided by CPC.
One, okay, excellent.
You clarified, we have no setup fee.
Okay, because a lot of this, there were a lot of things that it called for, so I wasn't sure if it was something that we would have set up to.
That makes sense.
To your
And
point,
yes, and to this point, there would be no cost to the county from CPC, no billing of any kind would go to the county for any kind of infrastructure or setup or anything.
so does any data that's going to be on that, so if you're setting up the server, everything that'll be on that server is something that you can see, it won't have to be partitioned off.
No,
Like it won't be data that comes from another part of the jail, that will be partitioned through whatever regulations you may not be able to see.
I'm not an IT person. You lost me at David, but.
well,
Uh,
but one thing I would say, we don't piggyback off the county for anything, so everything is through CPC.
So I'm gonna-
So hopefully that answers your question. I'm not in IT either, but no, we would not.
The negotiations kind of went like this for, y'all are gonna pay for everything that sets up and you bring in, and they said, yes,
And then they, yeah,
yes, ma'am.
and like those negotiations.
Can I throw in real quick, Sherry?
Hey, man, get it.
I saw like on the library access, it was like $1 a month. Is that something that's gonna come out of the fees?
Nope, I pay for that.
You, well,
Commissary pays for
I'm
it.
saying pay for that.
They
Okay.
always have, they always will.
Right.
But it sounds like that's something that we're mandated, because where I was ultimately going with that, you know,
Access.
is that, is it for the benefit of the inmate? If it's something that we've got to buy or,
Commissary takes care of it.
okay.
I already knew.
I knew that's why I said, you're right there with me.
But they always have. That's something that they've always provided. All the educational stuff in the jail, commissary usually takes care of, and that's not gonna change.
Shayla Banter, can I ask you a question? This is a 4-year contract and you said you all have recommended going with a guaranteed monthly fee
Yes, ma'am.
instead of commission.
Yes, sir.
At any point, like after years, any opportunity, if we're leaving a lot of money on the table, are we locked in for 4 years? We can't change it.
We can renegotiate on certain terms, like if our AD changes, like right now, they were okay with leaving it like what was this? 350, and I don't know if I'm gonna get to 350 in that, so I took it down to 280.
Right,
They don't really care about the number,
right.
but that's what they say, but I wanted it on paper.
Okay,
So, yes, we can go back to the table later after a year or so, but
Right.
I'm gonna be real honest with you. The 4 years is what's gonna take for them to make their money. Now, when we
Right.
if we stay with them in 4 years,
right.
I'm going after their pockets.
Well, yeah.
So-
Yeah,
So the
Understand.
real number is maybe not a year, it's probably 4 years in the next contract.
okay.
He's.
Oh, he's
reading-
looking, I'm sorry. I
he's
thought you were
looking.
trying to get his attention. I
No,
apologize.
he's reading something that I
Okay.
wanted him to look at. So on page 3, there's a termination clause in here. And in that termination clause, it basically says in the event that the government, you know, anything that comes up through the government and prevents the vendor from providing services like tariffs, any kind of regulations, anything that's layered on that's new, to continue with the agreement and make it financially impractical for economic reasons, if he uses the term economic reasons, then the vendor at its sole discretion can terminate the agreement immediately. Have you all had to do that?
No, ma'am.
Because I'm a little concerned about us getting, you know, deep into this contract and then something happening. And then there we are, and, you know, there's some other language where it says, once we have that 30-day written notice, you've got 90 days to pull your equipment out of there. And we potentially would be looking for another vendor to go in because, again, for a number of the reasons that you mentioned. We
This,
don't want to have mail and other things coming in, so that kind of would potentially put us in a bind. So I just, as long as you've been in business, you've not had any
No,
of
ma'am.
those issues.
And I would hope just to add to a little bit of your comfort there too. We're providing business in 54 counties, and not all of them are open county jails in the state, and 68 out of Indiana and out of 90 counties. And so that we're continuing to, you know, renew those contracts after 4 years term. Now, that should speak volumes to the support that the company will provide to the jail.
there's a high level of trust with this company.
Mhm.
They were unanimously picked by the committee, but I was thrilled when this company was picked. Debbie Waits is also with Combine, and she's been in this business for as long as, I don't want to age her, but a long time. She was with Secures for many, many years and went with this company, and there's a high level of trust with this company.
So how did the number of tablets, how did that number get determined? Because it talks about initially a specific number of tablets, and I think that's on page 3.
I'm happy to answer that.
How,
Yeah, I'll let you answer.
because then, you know, after we get to a certain number, if we see we need more, then,
Sure.
you know, some things come into play and that kicks in some other.
What we do is we start with a number, a ratio is generally 1 to 4, so it's a population-based
Okay.
number. We do that a little differently than maybe the last company might have done versus a 1-to-1, because like the jailer said, we have a hard name kiosk on the wall, there's a handheld chirper, there's a lot more technology being added, so you may not see that you need the, you know, 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. However, you know, it is we're gonna provide them based on usage, right? And so what we do is we come in at 1 to 4. If you see the fees, the reports are run once a week, and they are provided to the jail. So if you see that the usage is there or that there's a request and the staff lets us know that, we will provide more. The reason we go in a little bit slow is at 1 to 4 generally is, and I think that's what is in the contract. Sometimes we have changed that. They are Apple tablets. And so the expense of those tablets are different than the Android that was used before, a pretty big price difference. And again, no charge ever goes back to the county for broken devices. So we try to go in at that ratio. If they're being used, they get added. You're not stuck with a number.
So what date triggers the head count? I mean, you know, so there has to be a date that you say, all right, as of this date, we're gonna count 280 inmates. That number was brought in here quite often. So is that what you're gonna base your initial tablet number off of? It didn't say which
Correct.
number.
We
you
adjusted
based.
those numbers from 3. Something.
It's 350, it was their like basic contract, and I lowered it to 280 because I'm just, where are we at today? I didn't know. 285. 285 today, and it's got a 15%.
Yeah, it has a little float.
Yeah,
And some of that changes too based on location of the deal. So if you've got 20 in one area and 10 in another, you still might have to change the ratio
Sure.
based on that too. So we have a walkthrough done
Mhm.
where, you know, that person that's the expert says, okay, you have this many inmates here, this many here, this many here, we need this many to go into each one of those pods.
So given the increase in the amount of technology in there, will we need more bandwidth in the jail? And will we need
It's
to?
possible,
we'll need to
and
invest in that?
we do our own,
So you
so we
will
don't,
invest in
we
that?
don't piggyback on anything.
but yes, we need to do it too.
Because, okay, all right. I'm just concerned about us needing to do that to be able to use the full breadth of the
You are
technology.
correct.
Because if for some reason we go in there and everybody's turned it on and they're gonna be using it throughout the day and things don't come on,
Absolutely, that's a
We-
valid question,
or-
because if they're watching,
or
YouTube,
server.
that requires a lot more.
yes, it does.
Yeah, so that's.
And I don't know about the video chats with the families. My presumption is it would also eat up a lot of bandwidth, but I don't know.
It does, so that, again, that is handled by that technician that does that walkthrough, when they're counting where each one goes, we do that ourselves, and then they add that.
And y'all don't seem to have any kind of problems through those concrete walls or anything like
We
that,
have.
because you think about, you know, it's like when I worked in the annex, nobody's cell phone works half the buildings. you know,
We have,
but-
and there have been situations before where we've done the install, and then after the fact, the jail might call us and say, hey, we've discovered there's a problem in this location, and they'll come back and have everything we need to make it work.
This PIN debit transfer. And I've got to find out what page that's on. Normally I write that down. Page 5. Does the commissary have its own? Let's see. Let's see, I have outside budget, or will the treasurer have to establish an automatic? Okay, so Amy, do you have to establish an automatic process to withdraw this? Or is there already one for this PIN debit transfer? Do you know? Additionally, it says at the request of the vendor, customer agrees to work with the vendor to establish a direct ACH transfer of money from the commissary account to the vendor to address the commissary PIN debit transfers. Basically, that's what
Reimbursement.
all these things say here. Do you have to set up something just for the commissary?
No.
For that?
No, ma'am.
No,
No, the inmate moves money out of his commissary account to whichever technology device he or she wants to use.
okay. See, I wasn't sure because we had a number of people setting it up. I was just worried
Well,
about the
to
number.
further answer your question too, we will collect the money through commissary and we will make the payments.
Yeah,
maybe.
okay, it's a.
And we do that
it
quarterly, I
specifies
believe,
that in here.
or monthly if you want.
Okay, and this, let's see, on page 6, there's something about remote video visitation storage. So obviously, we found that any kind of situation that may get into litigation, and you don't know when an inmate comes in, if other things befall them while they're here. So sometimes that litigation drags on longer than 90 days, as our county attorney will soon find out when we have people in the jail. So this talks about being able to store the video for up to 90 days. What happens after that? Does it erase? Does
Well,
it get,
The video is different, obviously, than a phone call to keep the video. I think it can be extended, which we can change that to 180 days, if we've done that in special circumstances.
you
But
all will know better than us.
I like
sitting around
90
this
days.
table.
most don't keep on that.
They're gonna file litigation, do it in 90 days.
Well, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, I do. And sometimes video is available and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, so I just throw that out there just for you all to think about. Because based on this, I'm not sure
Sure.
if
Can I
it's beneficial or if it's not.
follow up on that with the question was, what is our retention schedule of these and beyond? If we were to cancel providers, what is the retention of that video in a format that we can use? If for some reason that we have to cancel this contract in a 30-day, 90-day situation, we lose the vendor and go to someone else. After
90 days.
At 90 days, but we would still have access to those
Yeah.
beyond the vendors.
If anything ever happens in the jail, we burn stuff immediately. So that's a good practice. We hope we still do that. But if we switch vendors, it'll be 90 days.
Nothing to think about. All right. Okay. I think that's everything I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else have
Thank
any?
you, answer.
Thank you, Squire
How
Sebastian.
many, troopers are you gonna have?
165, I think.
They're usually we go in and take rate, I think it's 65%. So it's again, it's based on population.
So 25% on the tablet and 65% on the troopers. And
165.
one kiosk in every.
No, it's 120 inmates, so they're four.
Like the bigger pods have two, the
Right.
smaller, like PC pods and stuff have one. But there's still, everybody in the jail is gonna have more opportunity.
Sure. Sure.
And I'm really looking forward to, I'm an investigative person, that's kind of my background. And I think with just having one investigative tool now, it's gonna make the deputies and the troopers and the city police a lot more happy, not have to listen to a phone call on this sign in, everybody wants another password, right? But this one is one login, one done, and done.
I have a question.
Go right ahead, Squire Tanner.
This is probably not exactly related to the same conversation, but of this income, the 18,000 a month, could that not, does any of that money go into the compensatory fund?
No, I had the.
Could it go in there?
We looked at putting the 1,700 a month into commissary. And I didn't want to do that. Our commissary is standing on its own 2 feet. We're not rich. It is not a rainbow of gold where we pay for everything, but we pay for a lot of things out of commissary. But I didn't want to put that in there because the only person responsible for the commissary is me. And I do not want to open up Pandora's box there. I just as soon give it to the treasurer and help make my budget, because just to be blunt, we're gonna have some shortfalls this year in our budget. I have 2 federal inmates right now. We're not gonna make federal.
Yes.
So any extra money I can make, we can put towards that.
Well, could you put any of the 18,000 into the commissary fund?
I don't believe the 18,000 can go in there. I think the chirp $1,700 a month, I know can go in there. I know a lot of jails do that. And I just chose not to do it.
Do they pay the money directly to Franklin County? It doesn't come through the jail, it comes through our treasurer, is that correct? Correct. All of it, the 1,700.
It goes, we have an auditor, our own personal auditor, the commissary pays for, and she will, every month, she will audit this. And then 30 days later, it'll probably be a 30-day back pay. But
Can't be instant.
Martha, our auditor, is very, very thorough. There's 26 screws in my ceiling in my office, and every time she comes in, I'll count them. Because she's very, very thorough. But I want her to go through it, then the money, as soon as that's okay, we send it down to Amy. I want to call you Susan, I'm so sorry, I'm just used to it. So.
Anybody else have any questions for the jailer? Go ahead.
The replacement of the equipment, I just want to verify that it is not our responsibility whatsoever. The inmates break everything twice over. I'm wondering about the replacement schedule. If things get broken, that we're not on a system that is a disadvantage because the continual breakage and delays in replacement.
If it's a phone, as of right now, the phone company we have extra phones on the grounds. If they break a phone, which it happens, our maintenance will go in and put that in there for them real quick, or they're local, they're not real far away. 24-hour turnaround, they'll fix that. I will say this, that me and Rick Sparks talked about a lot of this, and one of the things that I was hung up on in the contract that we negotiated, it's not in there anymore. If somebody maliciously tears up property at Franklin County and or combined, me and Mr. Comley will have a discussion. If we can charge that person and there's sufficient evidence, we will go after them. But I will say this until the day I'm not the jailer. If they're indigent you're not getting anything, because they don't have anything. But we will, do our due diligence to go after them if they tear up an iPad maliciously. And there's evidence of it. But I believe the turnaround, the newest jail in the state of Kentucky is Oldham County, which they are completely with combined. And I've been there several times. The jailer and I are dear friends, and I sent some of the committee up there on a visit for them to see it. And the biggest thing that we hear is customer service, customer service, customer service. And I have nothing bad to say about the companies we have now. The main thing with this company is a little bit more revenue, customer service, and a lot more opportunities provided. I'm really excited about, I love their product, but I'm really excited about this light check coming in. It's a game changer.
Couple others, differentiations in pricing per usage per type of equipment. I have some concern about whether it's the literacy or a handicap of an inmate, whether there would be sort of a push for preference of use of one type of equipment over another. Any of these options would be available to the inmates to use it at their own discretion? Is there a plan for assistance in using one type over another?
That will be triage when somebody comes in, just for instance, say somebody's deaf. We have to do and help them with that, like braille and stuff of that nature. So yes, but that's triage as they come into the jail. But we will do everything we can to make that accessible to them too.
And then again, just back to sort of the retention. I wondered what, maybe our county attorney can answer, what our retention schedule must be for this type of storage. And I'm just concerned that 4 years down the road, we maybe choose a new vendor. And if there's some proprietary software that we have to maintain to be able to use information from the previous system, is there any, will information be provided for us if we cancel this contract and go with someone else that is in a usable manner for us to transition?
Trying to say this without it being real blunt. If we go with another company, that will be part of the negotiations, but I can't predict the future of what that is. I have to worry about what I'm finding right now with them and the 4 years that we're doing. But the 4 years down the road, I hope to stay with them. But if we don't, that other company is going to have to come in and carry what they're already doing. I guess that answers your question.
Yes, but I just didn't see anything specifically in the contract that said that current company would provide that information as a usable format to another company. You know, so often in technology, we're having these proprietary stuff, some softwares that we have to use in transition that makes it difficult to ever change to another company. That was all.
I don't feel like I answered your question, but I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's all.
You get square with. Anybody else?
I'll go one more.
Go ahead.
What's the revenue difference in the current company and the one we have now?
On the front face of it, the tablets we have now ranges between $3,000 and $5,000 a month, depending on usage. The phone company is $16,000 a month. So if it's 5,000, it's 21,000. This one right here is 19,700, but it's guaranteed. And then you add the $16,000 a year for the life check, we're coming out pretty good.
All right. Maybe I can follow up with Amy and see what our numbers are. So it's about 277,000 a year coming forward. Okay.
Yeah, Levant, I think we're good. I
I know you said
appreciate it.
15 minutes.
I know. You kind of shot us in the foot.
Sorry. One other thing, and I'm gonna leave you all, I do not have the new Squires cell phone and or email, but I'm just gonna say it here publicly. If you all want to come to the jail and sit down with me and go through the jail and ask whatever questions you want to understand how the jail is supposed to work on a daily basis, I will teach you real quick. It's adapt and overcome daily, but you all are welcome anytime. Call me, we'll schedule an appointment. Y'all come up, sit down. I'll show you everything I can show you about the jail. Actually, it'll be cheap. He's been there 48 years, but you all are welcome. That is an invitation at any time.
Good deal.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's just for the new people. You sound about the old.
All righty. Any questions on item number 2, authorization to approve minutes? No questions. We'll go on to number 3. Authorization to reappoint the county employees. Any questions on anybody here? Happy to say everybody's gonna be continuing with us.
Just to verify this, it was said to me earlier, just making sure that we all know, this hourly rate does not reflect the raise yet. That
Correct.
was
The 3% COLA, that is correct.
That was at the last fiscal court meeting. It was adopted.
Correct. Item number 4, moving along, authorization, I guess, and compensation of the new deputy judge, Jack Kennedy. No questions? Number 5, authorization to reappoint our county road supervisor, John Mitchell. No questions there. Our next one is Mr. John Mitchell is going to kind of give us a road department update. And he's with us in person. John, thank you for being here. I know you've been pretty busy, not just today, but last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I asked John to be here during the meetings so he can kind of give us a briefing of what's been going on the last 2 weeks. And if anybody has any questions, he's here to answer them.
Yeah, as everybody knows, 10 days ago, it was a total different ballgame, so, that was tough. I've been here a long time, and I don't think I've had one that cold. The snow didn't melt anything, it was a cold weather, that was tough. But we did what we had to do, we tried hard, but salt just doesn't, sunshine does wonders, but salt, it doesn't even very good, especially in the dark, so. We played our game pretty good, I thought our roads turned out pretty decent. We spent a lot of time there. Salt went out quick and we got filled back up last week, so we're in good shape, we're ready for the next one, so today we change gears and start playing in the water. That's just the story of my life, that's.
You don't have any issues with the equipment?
No, one axle broke, I don't think it was it. But other than that, no, everything's minor. We did really good.
No fuel gelling?
Nope. No fuel gelling, one truck, air brake froze up. Just in a few minutes, we put the stuff in and got it going good. We didn't have any issues with the mouse. It was surprising. Yeah, it was good. But it was tough. It was cold. I'm telling you. At 2:30 in the morning, when the bus was there, it was my life. That was awesome. But like today, it's a total different ball. No major damage today. There's a few things here and there, nothing that really jumps out of the ordinary. It's the same spots now. Water's going down. Well, just checked it there. The creek's trying to level out. So river's already dropped. Looks like it's probably close to 2 feet now. We're going back the other way. Hopefully the rain will hold off and we'll be in good shape. Hopefully.
Anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Squire Tracy.
I know I spoke to you this morning. Thank you all for the great job you did with the weather. Any road closures due to high water?
Field house is closed right now. We went ahead and closed it. And Aiden stuff, I think Brian was gonna get his guys to check on it. It was still closed at 1:30, but the water is trying to go. So that's the only 2 that I'm aware of right now.
Thank you.
Anybody else? John, let me ask you this. So for the next, let's say 2 weeks, because that's when our next meeting will be, what do you all focus on this time of the year other than Mother Nature?
Well, that's a toss up. It just depends on what comes down the pipes, but mostly this time of year, it is Mother Nature. That's the way it plays out. And yeah, today we probably generated enough work to last us 2 weeks. This little storm. And then hopefully we don't get a snowstorm thrown in on top of it, but yeah, most of the time, this time of year, that's all it is. And routine stuff that you can hopefully get out and do if you get a little weather. It's a weather game now for sure.
Right.
This spring.
Perfect. Any other questions? Go ahead.
How are our reserves of salt, calcium chloride from how are we looking?
Pretty good. Yeah, we're okay right now. Okay, we're, and luckily, we ordered salt and got all of it in 2 days.
Wow.
Compared to the company we had last year, we had a terrible problem getting it, but this time it rolled in. We done good.
Good.
We're full.
Bartender?
Just general information, there's any area that can be trapped by the floods, like Havenstoke Road, can they go out the other way or?
They can get out.
South Benson can go out, of course, it's down on the road now, I think, but
Yeah, no, there's most areas there is another option, the back ways to get out. I don't know if some of the trap anywhere really besides Will Steelhouse, which is, some of these dead end roads, but those are local yokels, they know the game. No, there's other spots, I'm not aware of anything like that, right?
just a question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Seems bad.
Good deal. John, thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate your time. All righty, now we're gonna have our treasurer, Amy Quatman, come up and give us some reports.
So the first thing that you have in your packet is a budget transfer. And for our new magistrates, that is, planning and zoning, had a line item, but there was no budget. And Mr. Hewitt came to me and asked to move, it's a small amount, 25, but still, I appreciate him addressing that. And so that's what this budget transfer is.
Any questions?
So can I
Yeah,
ask one?
absolutely.
One of the directors? You know, when we talked about new rates for things, how, we probably used a variety of tools to share that information with the public and others. I'm not saying that this has anything to do with that. I'm just trying to figure out how we make sure that everybody understands what those rates are kind of going forward, because we set those rates last year.
Oh, it's in the pack. I forget what
Yeah.
year it was.
Yeah. Just, you know, to make sure that we're maximizing every tool that we can to make sure everybody understands it.
Okay, I will call tomorrow. Yeah, I will call tomorrow to see that our rates are on our section of the website. This budget transfer here is a result of a permit being issued under the old rate schedule.
Absolutely, I totally understand that.
A year and a half to get a job done, and so
Sure.
there was confusion.
It made me think of, how do we do a good job of, you know, do we use every tool, the web page and posting it and, you know, all the tools just to make sure that folks understand going forward. Things are gonna get trapped like this because of the length of projects. Totally understandable. Just trying to figure out how we make sure that that's publicized. Because we spent quite a bit of time and you did a lot of work to get that ready and bring it to the court. Your why and just, so I'm just asking for that.
Sure, and I'll follow up on that in the morning. There is a lot of usage of our county website, I will say that. My office used to receive numerous phone calls during the day from appraisers and real estate agents and such. Now they just go to our website, maps updated, you know, they can get our contact information, all of our forms are there. So that investment by the court to have that website built has been very useful to the community, to the public, even from out of town folks interested in things, they can go there first. Because I know when it's not working, because I'll get a call, hey, your map's not working.
There you go.
Well, I know they're using our website, so it does great. So, but I will follow up as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. You want to proceed to the treasurer's report?
Sure, so, every meeting is again for our new magistrates. I will give you a revenue report and an expense report. And that shows our budget, our month to date, our year to date, and what we have left. And it's a great report from our software. It gives, you know, percentage of where we should be. I use this tool to go down and see maybe where we're under, where we're over. But I'll provide this to you at every meeting. I do want to point out to you something new, and this is for all of you on page 4 of the revenue section. There's a new fund, 78, and it's the opioid settlement fund. And you all should have an email from me. We received our first check in December, and it was for $205,000. KCO did publish estimated payments over the next 16 years. It's going to be a total of about $1 million. They also gave us some direction on how that money can be used, and you should each have that. If you don't, let me know. I can print that for you. You can go to the KCO website too to get that.
Or does anybody have any questions on the treasurer's report for Amy?
Not here.
Seeing no questions, Amy, thank you very much. Appreciate everything you do for us. Payment of bills. Anybody have any question on payment of bills? I think it's pretty light right now, just being the end of the year and stuff, it seemed like. I thought the camera. Alrighty, we'll move on to number 10. Authorization to approve order of for bonds. County attorney, do I need to do anything with this, or is this something we just look through? I mean, this is, I think everybody needs bonds that's listed here, obviously, and I know the fiscal court is required to pay for them per KRS. Is that correct?
So may I ask a question?
Yes.
The document we have from State Automobile Mutual Insurance Company. Now, it gives the effective policy date of 21, January 1, 21. So certainly there's some staff who have retired, gone on to greener pastures who are listed on here. We don't need to reach out to the company to have those individuals pulled off. And then that begs the question, throughout the year, people may decide to retire. How do we communicate that information to these to make sure that everybody who does work for the county gets bonded? And I don't know,
I haven't specifically looked at that issue, but I can look into that issue.
I don't know who to ask that of.
Yeah,
But I mean, we want to make sure.
There's several companies in here. Are they all through Keiko or not? If you do, I don't know what they are.
I'm not,
No, I can tell you how it's been handled in the past. It's all been run through Pam. Polly handled all of your bond issues. Pam had all of your employee base on it. And as I was adding an employee that needed to be bonded, I would bring that information to her. She would bond them and then support the bond documentation back to my office because I have to have it on stat. I have to have it on file.
okay,
Okay, I
Judge.
appreciate that. They're just-
yes,
Yeah, just to follow up, we have a contact with the company, and yes, so we can add or subtract as needed. Which is basically an email to say, this is the person we need to add, or this is the person we need to subtract.
this is on my list to look over because it was brought to my attention, but I think basically we have an umbrella policy, but yes, no, I agree. It does need to be cleaned up. It's just being the first dad and getting it. Oh, Miss Betty Jo's with us.
So to Vicky, our payroll, when we have new employees or term employees, she sends a list to the executive assistant of your office.
Okay,
That's how those get removed. Executive assistant send it to the contact.
okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's input as we're trying to figure all this out. So I'm gonna ask Mr. County Attorney, I know in the constables, it looks like Bob Davis and his deputy did not turn their bond in, so do we need to do anything different? Individually, like when we vote on these, how does that work?
So they did not turn the paperwork in.
That's the note I have here.
Did anybody follow up with them to determine why they didn't turn the paperwork in?
If you remember at the beginning of last court, they didn't either, same.
Yeah.
And we had to hold off on acting on that for that specific constable. They did
Yeah.
Not last.
Jack, after we talked to him today, do you want to share something?
We talked on numerous days the last 3 weeks about him getting on and that. And he says he's got some medical issues and can't go anywhere or come in or things like that. So we're in a hold pattern for him right now.
And I think until he turns his paperwork in, I think we need to remain in the hold pattern.
I agree.
That would
So,
be,
so my question is, when we go, because we need to vote on these, correct? So what happens when we get down to constables?
In the past between individuals, so.
yeah, just go individually until he turns, until
Okay,
they turn the documentation in.
But the county's not, excuse me, does constables not pay their own bonds? They don't here?
no, they do.
Constables pay their own.
Constables,
Constables pay their own bond.
Correct.
yeah,
So,
Correct.
okay. That's
just
what
want to make sure we don't pass something that's not right. So when we get to constables, we'll just read them individually,
Individually.
okay? And make sure we're doing it the right way. Any other questions on the bonds? Okay, number 11, authorization to approve jail to accept bond release fees. But anything we need to talk about?
Hadn't changed part of my mind.
Okay. Questions, we're gonna move on. Authorization to award the bid, I believe we just kind of went over that in the work session. Does anybody have any other follow-up questions on that contract for jailer? No? Okay.
Oh, well, is there any? I don't see any other business on here.
No, because it's special meetings, I think we're sticking with what. Things on that. Maybe anything we have for information.
Just wanted to make a comment. Is it appropriate to make a comment?
It's appropriate, go ahead.
You know, recently in our community, we've lost some really important people. And to me, we've lost some important people. We lost Phil Sleeman, who, you know, when I first came to state government, she was at LRT also, and she did a lot in her career and a lot for Franklin County. You know, Betty Updike also worked there and was an absolute force behind the scenes, and LRC, the trains run on time because of people like her. And then we lost George Russell, and so many of us paths had crossed all of those people, and they were meaningful and helpful, and you know, had character and were characters and were important touchstones in our life and to the community. So I think it's always incumbent upon us to, you know, discuss that here because they've made such important contributions to us. So
Very
I
nice,
just wanted to make a comment on that.
very nice, thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything to say before we go into the voting session? Anybody need to take a break or anything, or y'all just keep moving?
Well,
Okay. I'd like to at this time thank our county clerk, Jeff Hancock, and Tanya Gordon for coming in today to help us. We have not figured out the clerk position yet, you know, being the first day in. And so per statute, it kind of falls on their office. And I appreciate you all being here and helping out. I really do. I would like to, I know there's 3 new members.
For a point of reference, let's not make this a habit.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get it figured out. Trust me. I know we have 3 new magistrates, and I was gonna do things a little different. One of my goals in running the meetings is to run them more efficient. And I think as you can see through our schedule, we're gonna go every 2 weeks instead of 3 weeks, so we don't have things pile up on us. We're gonna start meeting more often, things like that. So I think it's all gonna be positive. With the voting session, what I would like to do is, you know, have a motion, a second, and then all those in favor, aye, all those opposed, nay. If the clerk needs some clarification, if there's nays, then he or she could do a roll call. Is that okay?
That's fine. I do need on the motion in the second.
Correct.
I'm gonna need names on that after that.
Perfect. Does anybody have any questions? Each county attorney, stop me if I do something wrong. All righty. I get it. Yeah, exactly. We'll go to authorization to approve minutes of the regular meeting on December 16th, 2022.
so moved.
Second.
Ashton. Tracy,
I abstain.
you abstain?
I can't vote yes, I wasn't a member of the court.
Fair enough.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Next item, authorization to approve the appointment of county employees.
So moved.
Second.
Sebastian, Tracy.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to approve the compensation of the new deputy judge executive.
So second.
Is that Blackburn?
Yeah.
Blackburn.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Authorization to appoint our county road supervisor to a 2-year term.
So moved.
Who would get it from? Sebastian.
And Tracy. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Authorization to approve the budget transfers for fiscal court 2022 to 2023.
So moved.
Sebastian.
Second.
Who's that?
Wisman.
We're on number, six.
Seven,
Seven.
seven, six was another.
Six was just-
Sebastian.
Good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to receive the treasurer's report. I believe we just,
So moved.
Sebastian. Who's second?
Wisman.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Trying to remember what we do in the payment of bills. Is there anybody who doesn't want to pay the bills or something like that?
You can break them out, otherwise.
Bills to be paid, yeah. Gotta work on that one. All righty, so now we're to 10 on the bonds, so,
What'd you do on the payment of bills?
There
No,
was no motion
there's-
offered to deny.
Yeah.
payment of claims.
thank you. That's what I was looking for, Sebastian. Oh, perfect. Alrighty, we're gonna go with the bonds. Authorization to approve order of bonds for the county judge executive.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Hold on, what are y'all doing on that one?
I believe we have to vote on individually, like for the county judge bond and go down on number 10.
Yeah, so you're gonna go through them for the county judge, county clerk, and sheriff and jailer, and the coroner, and do constables separate, or are you gonna do them all separate?
I believe we have to do them all separate. County attorney,
Each one.
Okay.
I'm asking, Mr. County Attorney.
I think it makes sense to do them all separate that way.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
So we had a motion and a second, correct?
who was the motion by?
Me.
Sebastian. Who's second? Yeah. Right. And this is on the county judge, right?
Correct.
All right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Then go down and do the county clerk.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay. Authorization to approve the bond for the county clerk.
I move with that.
Second.
Okay. 10. Sebastian. Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to approve the bond for the sheriff.
So moved.
Second. Tracy.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Joe.
Yes. Authorization to approve the bond for the jailer.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to approve the bond for the coroner and his deputies.
So moved.
Second.
JW. Sebastian.
All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. Yeah. One, I got, I know their names.
So we're gonna do that. All the constables, we're gonna do individually.
It sounds like we need to, since the one's missing his information. Okay,
Mark Winston is.
thank you.
So the motion, I have explanation here on the vote.
Yes, please.
So the vote will be whether we set the amount of bond, but they have to provide that information. So we're not, we're not approving payment for any bond. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Order.
So then this motion is gonna be to establish a bond of where, how much it is.
Well, I think that's set by KRS and I think they've already turned theirs in, so they've already paid for them.
Set by KRS.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah, we really, yeah.
I thought you could set that bond what you want to set.
No, I think they just updated everything, from my understanding.
You gonna do these constables by district at this point, or are you gonna do them by name?
I was gonna say by name.
So first district is Mark Marcini.
Okay, second,
Which is second,
Second one is that Bob Dale.
Yeah.
He.
but he's the one out. We're not gonna do him.
So the
Okay.
motion is to accept the payment for the bond. Is that correct?
What is approve the order of the bond? They've paid it. We're filing.
Mr. County Attorney, how would you like me to present that?
I think your Squire said it correctly when he said approve the order for the bond.
All right, the third district,
That's Jeffrey Sizemore.
Jeff
right?
Sizemore, yes.
board. Junior.
Who was it? Mr. Tracy, Squire Tracy?
Fifth.
Junior Humble.
Hudnall,
Hudnall.
Is that Mills?
H-U-D-N-E-L-L.
Okay. And then who's?
Mills fifth.
Bill,
Who?
Mills, Billy Mills,
Billy Mills.
and sixth.
Sandifer.
Yeah. We good?
Yeah, let's, and can you do them in that order? That would be-
Yes, absolutely. Alrighty.
On the side.
Authorization to approve the,
Actually, it says no, but that's fine.
authorization to approve the order for the bond for Mark Marasini.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Authorization to approve the order for bond for Jeff Sizemore.
Are you gonna do Bob Davis?
Well, I guess I should.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I apologize. Yeah. All right, sorry about that. So we'll go back. Authorization to approve the order for bond for Bob Davis.
I'd like to table that until he has his opportunity to make it happen.
Okay,
You just want to table it? Okay,
thank you. Good.
yeah.
Do we need to vote on the table or
Something
no?
to put on
You need
paper.
to call
Do we need to call for if it's tabled?
table.
Do we need a second on that table too or no?
I don't think.
A second,
I think it's
just in case.
Okay.
I'm not sure, I'll check it on that.
Yeah. Rather be safe than sorry. All those in favor of tabling Bob Davis's bonds, aye. All those opposed, say nay. Okay, next one, authorization to approve the order of bond for Jeff Sizemore.
Second.
Has he met the requirements? Is he paid? He's good?
Yes, everybody else is paid.
I'll make a motion to accept this.
Kelly did, she did.
Kelly.
Sorry.
What's going on, man? Lost everybody. I said, hello. Is my mic?
We only have one that hasn't met the requirements.
Okay, so,
I did.
Oh,
Well, doesn't matter.
all right, we're good, Tanya? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to approve the order of bond for is it
Junior Hudl.
Junior Hudrell?
Hudl.
Hundle, I'm sorry, I apologize. Yeah,
No.
Hudnall.
So.
Second.
Tracy. JW.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to approve the order of bond for Billy Mills.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to approve the order of bond for Richard Sanford.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to adjourn.
No.
No,
You have
where we at?
Jailer bond.
Oh, I apologize. I'm getting ahead of me. Thank you. I was ready to go.
Two more.
Alrighty, authorization to approve the jailer to accept bond release fees.
So.
Who made that? Dacus. Tracy.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to award the bid for inmate telephone and tablet services to Combined Public Communications LLC / Cyber Path Services LLC.
So moved. Second.
Dacus. Sebastian.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Authorization to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. We're adjourned.